Good morning, everyone. Okay, if I quickly go through what we already discussed in the first week. So we started off by doing the introduction to UI and UX, and now we are doing the UX process. So last week we covered what is UI and UX and discussed about few job roles in the industry and essential UI and UX technical skills and how you can improve on them. I introduced you a book called Design of Everyday Things, and also we discuss about what are the skills that you should uh, have to become a successful UI and UX designer, technical skills and the other interpersonal skills and so on. How to think like a UX designer. We discuss how we can think like a UX designer in everyday interactions whenever you get a chance to interact with a digital or a physical product. How to think like a UX designer, how you can improve the design that you are interacting and make people's life easier. And finally, we go through what is UX portfolio and how to build one. In UX portfolio, I mentioned that there are two main platforms, Behance and Dribble, where you can create your accounts as a starter. And moving on, you should create your own portfolio, because portfolio is the only thing that uh, recruiters or the hiring managers is asking you to send when you apply for UX related job. So that is also really important. All right. Today we are going to go through the UX process, complete UX process, and if we have time, we will do some Figma practicals as well. All right. So this is what we discussed last week, the UX design process. This process. So as I mentioned, we start off with the empathizing with our users, and after the empathizing, we define the details. We define the things that we gather during the interview process or the empathizing process, and finally ideate them by using wireframes or sketches or user flows, user personas, and so on. So after the ideation, we move on to prototype, where we create a clickable prototype, not the actual application, but the visual representation of the final product, where users or the uh, stakeholders can click and check the look and feel of the application without building it. And finally, we are testing it with our end users or with the team members or anyone who is involved in the designing process. And as I mentioned, this is not a linear process, means that you can't start off with empathizing and move into test in a linear way. You have to go back and forth. So it is an iterative process that you have to follow to fine tune your design and build a successful product in the end. All right. So we talked about uh, empathize and user interviews and interview questions that you should ask. We took this particular scenario where are you going to develop an application for bicycle riding. So these were the questions that we discussed that we should ask if going to find solution to this kind of a problem that people are facing. All right. Now let's talk about competitor analysis. What is competitor analysis? One of the critical steps when developing a new product is finding out where you stand with the competition. Competitor analysis is a necessary part of the design process to help businesses gain valuable insight into the market, identify the strengths and weaknesses of their products, and develop effective product strategies to create winning results. So after we do the initial interviews and get to know our users, their expectations of your by using your applications and so on, the competitor analysis part is also must do before you start off with actual designing. So by doing competitor analysis, you can find out where you stand in the competition. For an example, let's say you are going to launch a ride sharing application. So the two direct competitors in local market you can search for is Pygmy and Uber. And there can be some indirect competition as well, such as taxi services or even public transport, or even any other transport method that you think that may be a indirect competition to your application. And also you can do your research in not only in Sri Lanka but in other markets as well, because in East Asia or any other country, ride sharing is a big big thing. For an example, in East Asia, they have application or called Grab. So you can compare that application with the applications that we already have in Sri Lanka and get all the good things that users are recommending. Is there any new technologies, new user flows, uh, new advancements in these technologies or the applications? You can apply all these things in your design because you need to get ahead of the competition when you launch the applications. That is the only way you can survive in the market. Competitor analysis. So let's go through this. Why conduct a competitor analysis in UX design? It helps you to assess where your product or design stands in the market. Define any gaps in the market. So when you do your competitor analysis thoroughly, you will identify, is there any market gaps? Should we target all the users in general, or should we only target any specific user group? So you can get an idea about all these things if you do a thorough competitor analysis. And next one is the know the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. When analyzing your competitors, let's say for an example, you analyze Uber application. So you get to know what are the strengths of this application by asking interview questions or by referring to their Google Play Store or Apple App Store reviews. And or you can experience the application firsthand by yourself by downloading the application and try to book a ride and so on. So you will get a better idea about the strengths and weaknesses of your application, of the application that you are researching about, competitor application. Identifying the advantages and disadvantages of your product. So then you can compare what are the advantages people will get if they download my application rather than going for Uber or Pick Me application. And what are the disadvantages I have as an application user have when they download our application. So you can analyze all these and come up with a good strategy, good product plan when you launch in the application. Have evidence to back up your design decision. So if you do a thorough competitor analysis, when you do your designs, especially the visual design or the wireframe design or the information architecture, you have a good idea about how other applications are designed. So what are the hierarchy? What is the architecture of these applications? What are the placements in the screen? Where they place their search bar? What is the user flow look like? How easy is it for someone to book a taxi by using this particular application? So you can apply the same principles because as we discussed in the first week, most of the users have some mental models already developed because they also using some of the other competitive application in daily basis. So you don't have to uh, think about a application that you don't have to think from the beginning and design application yourselves. You can apply the same design practices, design thinking, or the information architecture or the visual representation in your design by referring to this competitive application. For an example, you can put a search bar in the beginning where they can input their destination and select a taxi type maybe, and finally do the payment method, cash or card. So you can apply the same thing because people are so used to it, they will find it easier to use your application as well. Next one, uh, even in the have evidence to back up with your design decisions. So when you do the design, in the end, the people in your team or even the client or even the users will ask you some questions. So you have to give uh, valid answers. For an example, you have to back up your design decisions. So they might be asking you, why did you select this particular color? Why is your search bar placed here? So you should tell them that this is the reason behind that, and other competitors also have the same mental model, same user flows. So I don't want to ask our users to learn something new in the user flow. So that is why I implemented this in the same way. So you can back up your design decisions if you do your competitor analysis thoroughly. Next one helps you solve usability issues. So usability issues are something, let's say for an example, when someone try to use your application, uh, he is a motor impaired person or a visual impaired person. So that is accessibility related issue. So usability consists of several criteria such as accessibility, memorability, and so on. So if you do the research, you know that these companies, Uber, PickMe, or any other ride-sharing application, after they develop the application, they invest so much of effort and money to do their research and development. So if you follow the same way, if you do the research on competitors, your application won't have much usability issues. And even if you get any usability issue, it is easier for you to solve it if you have good competitor analysis documentation done already. All right. So these are some steps to do a UX competitor analysis. You can start off by outline your goals and define your product. Next one, compile a list of your direct and indirect competition. Create a comparison chart of the competition's product features. Identify the differences between products. Summarize and present your findings. So first thing you have to do is outline your goals and define your product. So goals, when you get a project from even from a client, or even if you're working as a designer in an office premises in a company, uh, they will, most of the time, the clients will come up with the product goal. So what is the goal, what they expect, what is the criteria, how they measure the success, how many downloads they require in first few weeks, and so on. So you can outline this goal and define your product based on these goals. The first one is that. Next, you have to compile a list of direct and indirect competition. So those are the direct and indirect competition that we are going to research about. So we are going to do competitor analysis on this direct and indirect competition. At least 2 or 3 direct competition and similar number of indirect competition will be minimum. So if you do more research, it will benefit you because you will get to know about more users and what people are experiencing and what they are expecting. So that will help you to build a successful application as well. Next one, create a comparison chart of the competition's product features. Then you can create a comparison chart. Uh, like this, you can create a table and you can list down all the features in the first column of the row, and then uh, put ticks when comparing other application, cross-device support, or what other features they are providing. So this is a template for comparison chart. All right. Identify the differences between products. So by doing the competitor analysis and by doing the comparison chart also, you can identify the similarities and the differences. Most of the time, if you identify the differences, you can find where your product is standing, what are the market gaps that you have, what are the things that I should consider more, what are the uh, features that we launch our application with in the beginning, and so on. Finally, summarize and present your findings. So even though if you do all these competitor analysis and everything, if you don't summarize and if you don't create any visualizations and present your findings to your team or any stakeholders, it is not a good competitor analysis. Because let's say you did the competitor analysis by spending months, and you have a good idea about the application and the competitors and everyone, but you have to give this research findings to your team and also the stakeholders, maybe the client as well. So in that case, you have to summarize and create some visualizations where they can scan through or read what your research findings are. So documentation skills are also necessary in order to create a competitor analysis documentation. All right. So we discussed about interviews and then competitor analysis. So after you do interviews with several people, we create something called a user persona. So user personas are archetypical users whose goals and characteristics represent the needs of a larger group of users. Usually a persona is presented in a 1 or 2 page document. So when you're developing an application, you identify your end users. Let's say you're developing a banking application and there can be up to 100,000 end users. You don't get a chance to interview all these people. You can only interview a limited number of people, let's say 15 people. So we call them archetypical users because you think these 15 people will represent the whole 100,000 people. So you have to make sure that you select users wisely. So if I take the ride sharing application again, when you interview people, you have to make sure you select users with different backgrounds. For an example, one user might be using your application to travel to their office in daily basis. Another user can be a mother who is sending their kids to school by using this ride sharing application. Another user might be he's not using is only used in the application occasionally. So that is the user story for another user. So you can analyze all these users and create something called user persona. So I already discussed, showed you one persona. If I take this example right here, you can add his name and a picture of him. If you don't have a picture, you can find a stock image, but it should represent his background, so his uh, but he told you in the interview, and we have to add a slogan right here what he mentioned during the interview, and we can list down all the motivations and his personality, behaviors and habits, goals and needs. So this documentation uh, will help your team members or the front-end developer or anyone who is involved in the project to get an idea about the users of the application. So we will have, if we interview 15 people, we should have at least 15 personas in place. So normally we paste them in the office premises. So anyone in the team can easily look through and get an idea about what this person's expectations. Will he like the design that I do? Will he like the feature that we are going to build? So that is the questions that you should ask when creating a persona. All right. Why are user personas important? Number one is build empathy. So if you don't have a persona, every time the team member or anyone asking questions about what were the research findings, what were you discussing with this particular user, you have to verbally tell him what was the discussion is about and everything. So it is really hard to uh, communicate and also build empathy. So if you have these personas in place in your office premises, it will help everyone in the team to build empathy among these users and talk to, like for an example, we have this user right here, his name is Lucas. So if you tell that Lucas tell this in the interview that he like this feature to be in our application, everyone in the team know who Lucas is because we have that persona created already. So in communication wise also, it is really helpful. And next one, provide direction for making design decisions. So you can categorize these users based on their expectations or their professional background and personal habits, and what are the applications that they're already using, their lifestyle and so on. And then you can communicate research findings as well by referring to these personas and their details, the properties. Okay, these are the things that you should have in a persona. Number one is persona name. So we have a persona name right here, Lucas. And then we should have a photo. So if you don't have a photo, it is kind of boring. So it is acting like a normal documentation. So having a photo is another good way to empathize with your users. By looking at that particular user, if you put a right photo, you will get an idea about his demography or anything he's expecting. And demographics, gender, age, location, and family status, and everything we are going to put in our persona right here. Goals and needs. So we are going to list down his goals and needs. This particular user is having these particular goals and needs to enjoy healthy diet and lifestyle during lockdown and so on. So you can list down all these goals and needs by referring to what he mentioned in the interview regarding your product that you are going to develop. Pain points. What are the pain points or frustrations they have about other applications or any other thing that they're going to do in daily basis? In our ride sharing application, what are the frustrations that you have when you try to book a taxi? Is the application buggy? Are there any available taxis? The availability for some people, that is the frustration. And for some people, the drivers are not professional, so that is a frustration. And price breakdown, some of the time the application's main price breakdown when they show in the beginning is getting changed in the end. So are we tackle all these issues, that frustrations that people are facing in our application? Bits of personality, quote or slogan that captures the personality, we can put it right here. All right, next we are going to discuss about user flows. Any questions so far? Okay, let's do the user flow. User flow is a diagram that shows the path a user goes through when using your product from the start point to the final interaction. Let's take this one for an example. Okay, in user flow diagram, we start off with this entry point, and this is the close point. So we can use these shapes to describe. This one is a display screen. So this is a welcome screen, select task screen, detail screen, and all the display screens are using rectangles. Whereas this shape is used to uh, demonstrate the decision, and this is for action. The circle is for action. So we enter the application. So if I take an example to show you, let's create a Jamboard ride sharing application. First thing, we need a start point. Same. So I'm going to uh, create a very straightforward user flow without thinking much about the process. So the next one can be, let's say, sign up, sign in. So this one is onboarding. So you can use Figma Jam tool. So in here we have Figma Jamboard to create these user flows when you do design. And if sign in or sign up, so this is the simple user flow. You can start off with the application, and then when user click on the application, we can show them the onboarding process if this is the first time they're using the application. And if they already have an account, we can directly ask them to sign in by using whatever the method, maybe the phone number or anything, and directly show them the dashboard. If not, we can show them the sign up screen, and then after they sign up, we can show them the dashboard. So that is the simple example of how to create a user flow based on the scenario you have in hand. So we are going to create a project in the fifth week of the classroom. So you have to present a project. So you can use this Figma tool to create your user flows and uh, demonstrate it to the classroom as well. So that is how you can create a simple user flow. So I will add some documents regarding some user flows and user flow creation. I will record a video and add that one as well. So it will give you an idea about how to create a user flow and what are the things that you should have in order to create a good user flow. So when user flow creation in software, also we have user flow or the user flow diagram creation or the affinity mapping and everything. But in UX, the main idea of the user flow is to give the developers or the design team members or users get an idea about their interaction. So UX designers user flow can be different from the software engineers user flow diagram, because we are concerning more about the users. What are the uh, steps that these users have to take in order to achieve the task successfully? So that is the thing that should be on your mind when you're creating a user flow. Your user flow should be streamlined and it should be easy to use to any users in order to make it a successful product. Or a UX flow diagram that shows the path the users go through when using your product from the start point to the final interaction. User flow is important because it is an easy and fast way to visualize the process. So if you don't have this kind of a user flow, let's say you have this user flow placed and you know that these are the screens that I should design: onboarding screen, sign up screen, all the things that we have rectangles. So those are the screens that we should design. So maybe you can color them with a different color by selecting all of them and select some other color. So these are the screens that you should design, and actions can be in a different color, maybe this color. And you can present this to your core team members or anyone who is involving in the project easily by having a good graphical representation of your user flow. Allows to better learn your audience, and it is also helping you to better learn your audience, because uh, in the ride sharing application, when you let's say another application, this is a banking application, the first thing that they have to do is the user flow is to send money to someone else. If I go back here, first step they have to do is start. Start can be downloading the application or opening the application in their phone, and then they have to sign in. Let's say onboarding again, onboarding process. So if they don't have an account, they have to sign up. If they already have an account, they can log in. So next we are going to give them a decision. This one, sign in. Use this color. Until here, I'm going to connect this onboarding. So if they sign in, we are going to display the dashboard. If they're not signed in, we are going to prompt them the sign up script. This is yes, this is no. So after in the banking application, after showing the dashboard, there can be a button on the dashboard called, let's say, send money. So I'm going to design that button as well. So user click on send money button in dashboard. So after clicking on that button, we are going to display another screen. So this screen will ask users to select bank. So I'm going to add all the things that it's prompting in a one screen. Then it might ask to enter account number, account holder name, maybe contact number. So I'm not going to add bank, branch and everything. Most of the time, most of the application don't need the banking branch or anything to input. So I'm going to leave it simple that way. So after you enter this information, you click on next button maybe. After signing up also, I'm going to so the next screen might have asking this detail, enter amount and select. If you have multiple accounts in your banking application, you can have to select the account that you want to send money. Select sending. And finally, user click the send button. Then again, you have to add the OTP. You get the success or failure message. There can be some alternative paths as well, especially users can hold in here. They don't enter any banking account details, or they don't enter any account details, and maybe they don't put the OTP number. So in that case, it will be a failure. So this is the simple user flow if you create an application for banking. So starting off with the application and then the onboarding signing up. So if they sign in already, we are showing them the dashboard. Otherwise, we are going asking them to sign up. But anyway, they can come to dashboard after signing up. And then there will be a button in the dashboard called send money. When users click on it, we are asking them to select bank, enter account number, or the details about the bank or the person that you want to send money, and enter the amount. And finally, user will click on the send button. And finally, for the verification, we are going to give them the OTP, and finally success or the failure message and the report. So that is the simple user flow for sending money. All right. So user flow is important because when you communicate with your users or the coders or even front-end developers who is developing the application, back-end developers even, you can present them with this user flow and tell them these are the screens that I have designed and this is the user flow that I followed. So it will make their lives easier as well. So that is what you have to do in when you're creating a user, when you empathize with your users. So in this process, we discuss about empathize. Now let's take a look at other parts as well. Okay. Okay. We discuss about these things. What is UX process and methods? How to apply UX design process practically? What is empathy and why is it so important in design thinking? User interviews and competitor analysis. And we discuss creating personas and creating user flows today. In the UX process part 2, we are going to discuss about color psychology and color theory. So that is actually more into UI rather than UX. Typography, that is also more into UI, and the style guide, UX flows, and creating wireframes. So those are the topics that we are going to cover now. Any questions so far? All right. What is color psychology? It is a branch of psychology studying the influence of colors on human mood and behavior. The thing is that our mind reacts to colors while we usually do not notice it. The moment our eyes perceive color, they connect with the brain, which gives signals to the endocrine system, releasing hormones responsible for the shifts in moods and emotions. So, as you know, different colors represent different human emotions. For an example, when you see a red color, you know that it is representing something related to danger, or you have to be cautious about the things that you have to do in a digital screen. Or if you see the green color, if it is a physical example, you know that it is something related to success. In traffic lights, they are using the green color to give a message where you can go. And even in a UI, if you show your users a green color button, they are comfortable. They know that it is something that the UI designer or someone who developed the application is recommending you to take this action, and it is also bind with the success. So you can use these colors wisely in your design and make sure your end users get the message in the right tone that you want to give them. So that is the use of colors in color psychology. So as I mentioned, the stop signs, the most of the road signs are in red color. And even in the hospital, they are using this red color theme to convey the message that they want to give their users. Meaning of colors. To convey the right tone, messages and call users to make the expected action. Designers need to understand what colors mean and what reactions they evoke. So all these different colors, red color, green color, yellow, or even orange, or any color that we are using mostly in our designs represent different human emotions, or they can evoke different reactions from users. So as a designer, you should understand what these colors are representing and use them wisely in your designs. Let's start off with the red color. Red color. The color usually associates with passionate, strong, and aggressive feelings. It symbolizes both good and bad states of mind and soul, including love, confidence, passion, and anger. In design, the use of red color is an effective way to draw users' attention. Also, it's recommended to use red sparingly to avoid negative reactions. So these are the emotions or the feelings that they convey. And also you have to make sure you use red color sparingly with, let's say, red and white, red and black, or any other color that goes with red color in order to avoid negative reactions. Because by having only red color will give your users eye strains, and it is not a good user experience for your users. They won't be able to look into red color for longer hours. You have to consider that. So in this example right here, they are using their onboarding process. The background color is red, and they are using white color text and these graphics in order to make users read the descriptions before they use the application. In UI and UX, we are using red color to display the error state. So if you filling a form, contact form, or sending money to someone else in banking application, all the errors are showing you. If you make any errors, it will show up you in a red color theme. So error state will display in a red color. An emotional response. If you double tap an image on Instagram, or even if you like a picture in Facebook or whatever, it will give you emotional response. In Instagram, they are showing you a red color heart. So that is how they give interaction to their users. In this shopping cart right here, when you add something to your shopping cart, if you want to remove it from your shopping cart, you have to click on this red color cross icon. So you have to make sure that you see the icon and uh, take the action cautiously. So that is the idea behind this red color cross right here. And when you try to perform potentially dangerous action, for an example, if you try to deactivate your Facebook profile or a LinkedIn profile, uh, it is actually hidden inside account settings and privacy settings. They make it hard to deactivate the account even. And when you try to deactivate the account, all the text, deactivate text, or the close account button and everything is in red color. So you know that you are performing some potentially dangerous action, and you have to be cautious about it when you perform the action. So that is the red color. Orange color. It is an energetic and warm color, bringing the feelings of excitement. Orange combines red's power and yellow's friendliness, so it may bring feelings of motivation, enthusiasm, and love to life. Designers use the color if they need to give the spirit of creativity and adventure. So, likewise, orange color can be used to convey the motivation, enthusiasm, and love of life. So they can users can create applications, especially, let's say, for an example, the gym, the health, exercising applications. Most of the time, they are using these kind of orange color because they want to convey motivation, enthusiasm, or those feelings to their end users. So this merchandise shop right here, they are using orange color as their accent color in order to convey these messages, creativity and adventure to their users. All right. Yellow color. This is the color of happiness which symbolizes the sunlight, joy and warmth. Yellow is thought to be the easiest color to visibly see. What's more, it has one of the most powerful psychological meanings. Users seeing yellow colors in the design can feel inspiration and confidence. I'm sorry. Although you need to remember that too much yellow may bring negative reactions such as feeling of anxiety and fear. All right. Yellow color, it symbolizes the sunlight, and you know that with the yellow color, we can convey the message such as inspirations or the confidence to your users. And also, you have to make sure you use yellow color sparingly. If you don't use so much of yellow color in your screens, it will give you negative reaction because users will find it hard to look into yellow color for longer hours, especially if it's in a digital screen. So you have to make sure you use yellow color accents here and there where you want your users to give their attention to. So in here, the main text, the hero text is in yellow color, and they have added this border as well in yellow color. So that is how they represent this particular design, and the messages that they want to give is the inspiration and uh, by having this kind of a layout. All right. Green color. It is often called the color of nature, balance and harmony. Green brings the growth of an experience. So green brings of growth and inexperience. It has more positive energy than most other colors, but sometimes it associates with materialism. Design in green color perfectly suits the products connected with nature, calming and renewing feelings. Also, it is a sun. If you want to convey positive energy or something related to nature, you can use green color in your design. And it is also a sign means we are using green color to show a success messages, something good happened. So expected action is happen in your digital screen. We can show them a green color tick or whatever to show them the message that their action has taken place successfully. So in this example right here, they have green color background, green color image, and they are using red color accent and white color to get users' attention to this particular area. As I mentioned, the success state, when you send money successfully to someone else by using banking application, the success message most of the time will be in green color. So that is the sign, success sign by using green color. And submit button, or most of the call to action buttons with the recommended action. So let's say for an example, we have submit button and cancel button right here. So the designer can highlight the submit button in green color, so users know that this is the recommended option, and most of the time they will click on this submit button rather than clicking the cancel button. So that is green color in a call to action button. If your application or your website have subscription plans, you can highlight the ideal deal or the recommended plan by highlighting it in a green color. So users will tend to click, or more likely to click on that particular option rather than selecting any other, because it is the recommended option and it is also highlighted in green color. In Stripe application, this is not the newest application, the current application, uh, but when I created the presentation, it has this kind of layout. The call to action button is in a green color, and you can simply click on start now button rather than try to contact sales, because this is highlighted in green color, and they are using this tab icon right here, the new, it is also highlighted in green color. While red means stop, green means go. That's why green can be used to encourage users to participate in some activity. For example, Stripe prompts users to sign up with the green button. So users can start up by clicking the start now button and move on with the process. So in UX, we do something called A/B testing. In A/B testing, what we do is, if I show you an example, Let's see this one first. In A/B testing, when we design our layouts, when we launching it to the market, we have two versions of the application. One in, let's say, this particular color and different text, and this one with the add to cart button, and this one with the buy now button, but in uh, blue color, and this one is in yellow color. And when we launch in the application, we show 50% or some percentage of our users this particular design, another 50% this particular design. So after some time, let's say maybe 1 month, we analyze the performance of users, and we get to know most of the users, 56% of the conversions are coming from this particular design. And then we are going to switch this particular design off, or maybe we can try another design and make sure this is the main design, and we can switch off the other testing and show 100% of users this part, this version of our design. So that is A/B testing, and we can use in our designs as well. So in this particular example right here, they have green color button. So this is showing to 50% of users, and this red color button is showing to another 50% of users. So after some time, they analyze the research findings, analyze the user interactions and the conversion rates. It is said that green color buttons or the green color call to action buttons have more efficiency. Most people will click on that buttons when compared to any other color. In this particular case, the red color button. So you can also carry out these kind of experiments when you do your UX designs. Okay, blue color. It's it often represents some corporate images since blue is the color of trust. It usually shows reliability, may give users calming feelings. However, as a cool color, it also associates with the distance and sadness. So designers need to keep it in balance. So if you go to applications such as Facebook or even Instagram or even most of the banking applications, they are using blue color because they want to build trust and show some reliability to their users. So that is the idea behind that. So this particular example right here, they are using blue color as the background color, and this text is highlighting because it is using uh, contrasting color, the white color for their typography. All right, next we have purple color, long associated with royalty and wealth since many kings wore purple clothes. It's usually useful for presenting some luxurious products. It also a color of mystery and magic. It mixes the energy of red and blue, so it has a balance of power and stability. A big concentration of the color may distract users. So all these colors, when you're selecting a color, you have to make sure you use these colors sparingly, especially the red color or the yellow color or orange or even purple, sparingly with any other color, ideally white or black. So purple and white is a good combination to have. So if you put so much of purple color in your design, it is not a good user experience. It will distract users' mind. It can apply in some cases, especially like this, uh, but in some other cases where they have to perform actions uh, such as sending money to someone else by using a banking application, and where there is so much text content where they have to read. So it will decrease the readability if you have a purple background like this. You can use it in presentations or this kind of layouts, but you can make sure to apply the color or select the color based on the scenario or the users that you are targeting. Next one, pink color. It is color of hope, sensitivity, and romance. Pink is much softer than red, so it creates the sense of unconditional love. Pink is associated very strongly with youthful femininity. It may be an effective color if the target audience is mostly girls and young women. So If you come across any application that's specifically designed for women, banking applications, banking accounts, or even, let's say, pregnancy tracker, that kind of application, most of these applications are in pink color because their target audience are mostly girls and young women. So in this example right here, this uh, shopping application, they're using pink color accent, and maybe their target audience are mostly women. So that is the idea behind that. Brown color, the color of security and protection, like the Mother Earth. Designers commonly use brown as a background color in a variety of shades, from very light to deep. It brings the feeling of warmth and comfort to the designs. Also, it may be used to show experience and reassurance. So if you use brown color in your designs, these are the human emotions or the feelings that you are trying to convey in your users: warmth and comfort, experience and reassurance. So most of the luxury brands, gold or any other, they are using this particular accent in their designs, mobile applications or websites. All right, let's discuss about black and white. Black color. The color has a great number of meanings. It associates with tragic situations and death. It signifies a mystery. It can be traditional, modern, serious. Everything depends on how you employ it and which colors go with it. Black matches well with any other color, so it is ideal for background. Designers often use it to set contrasts. So as you know, you can use black color with any other colors pairing. It may be black and red, or black and blue, or even black and yellow. And based on the situation that you are applying it, you can change the accent color with a black color. And also we can use it as a background color because it is really contrasting if you select some other color as your foreground text color. So in this example right here, they're using black color as the background color. All the menu details, the item details are in heading is in white color, and then the image and the white color text. So that is giving better user experience for users in this particular scenario. Yeah, so you can black color can represent elegant and elite as well, but most of the time when you use it sparingly with any other color, let's say black and gold, black and purple color. So it is depending on the other accent that you are selecting. So the black color is the main color that you have to use. White color. The color means purity and innocence, as well as wholeness and clarity. White often associates with a blank sheet of paper, motivating people to generate new ideas. However, too much white can cause feelings of isolation and emptiness. In design, white is commonly used as a background color, especially for the resources for which readability is a vital part. So most of us used to white color even from our childhood. When we try to design something in a paper, physical paper, we get a white color paper. So similar thing applies in Figma or any other designing application. They are using same thing. Like if I draw a artboard right here in Figma, it will give me in a white color background. So it will give me more freedom to be creative. And also I'm so used to white color even from the childhood. So that is the idea that they are using. Even Photoshop or Illustrator or any application, they are applying the same principles in the design. And if your application have so much of readable text, it is a text-rich website. Let's say it is a news website or a educational website or something like Wikipedia, where users have to read the content. So that is a white color background is vital because users will read your application and it will improve the readability as well. So this is an example of that. The white color background and the black color text is contrasting and users can easily read whatever in the foreground. All right. Color meanings in branding. Colors are vital factor for not only the visual appearance of products, but also brand recognition. In branding, colors tend to have more direct meanings than in common understanding. They can briefly describe within a few words. So here is the list for you. So whenever you see a red color, the Coca-Cola red color, you know that this is the Coca-Cola's red color. So that is the brand recognition. And any other brand, let's say fast food chains, they are you also using red and yellow color. So you get to know the brand about the brand by just by seeing the color. So Coca-Cola is using it very effectively. So that is why I took that as an example. Okay, so the red color is conveying confidence, youth, and power, whereas orange color is for friendliness, warm and energetic. Yellow, happiness, optimism, and warmth. Green color, peace, growth, and health. Blue color, trust, security, and stability. Purple, luxurious, creative, and wise. Black, reliable, sophisticated, and experienced. White, simple, calm, and clean. So when you're selecting a color for your UI designs, you have to consider first you have to interview your end users and empathize with them, and you will get an idea about what these people's expectations are, and then you can select on a color based on their requirements. So if it is a banking application, you have to consider using some color related to blue color. Let's say we have to build the trust and the security and the stability among our customers. So in that case, you can go with the blue color. But if it is something related to this, if you want to convey happiness, optimism, and warmth, so if it is a, let's say, a workout application, you can use something orange or yellow color with black or white accent. Black color accent will be ideal. So you can choose the colors based on the message that you want to convey to your users. Okay, these are some color preferences. Blue is the top color. Both men and women of all ages think of blue as a favored color. Brown and orange are disliked. The first one considered less favorable among men. So the brown is less favorable among men, whereas orange is less favorable among women. And the blue is the preferred color for both genders. Cool colors are preferred. So these are actually research findings. I will add the research link on Google Classroom as well. Cool colors are preferred. Men and women favor blue, green, and their tints in general. Women like tints. When men prefer pure or shaded colors, ladies are good with tints, lighter value than the hue of that particular color. Men prefer achromatic colors, while black and gray are neutral colors and men are keen to choose them. So in this particular graph right here, the pie chart, we have 50% of men prefer blue color, whereas 35% of women is also preferring blue color. So blue is the most preferred color between both genders. And only 1% of men prefer yellow color, uh, and also 1% of women prefer white or the gray color. So when you're designing an application, if it is a gender-based application, especially if it is only for you are targeting only men or women, you can apply these designs. Or even if it is a application that you're focusing on both genders, you can still apply and do your research about your users, even though it is given like this. It is actually should address the issues that your users are facing, your end users, and also the application you are developing. You can't put a red color or any other color if you are developing application for professionals. So make sure to apply the principles that you have learned. These are some points to consider when you're selecting a color. Color psychology is rather complex to understand and learn. However, it may become an efficient tool in designers' hands, helping to understand users and their demands. Choose colors wisely. They have a deep influence on the users. Make sure your designs and its colors convey the right message and tune. So when you start off as a UX designer, when considering selecting a color, you have to it is actually the complex subject too. Like, let's say for an example, you selected the blue color, and what tone. The blue color also have different shades. The best thing to do is you can do a research. You can research on Dribble or the Behance and find out what other competitors are doing. What is the color tone that they are using? What is the idea behind that? So in that way that you can learn what is the color, what is the ideal color that you should use in your application. And choose colors wisely. They have deep influence on the users. So especially certain demographics prefer certain colors. In let's say you are developing application for some culture, let's say Chinese people, they prefer red color or the yellow color. So how are you going to uh, select colors for that particular people? And there are some religious groups that prefer certain colors. So you have to make sure you think about all this when you are developing or the designing a application or a website. Make sure your design and its colors convey the right message and tune. So even if you select a color, let's say you selected the blue color, you have to select the right shade and the tune. It can be a lighter version, it can be a lighter shade or the darker shade. So what is the color connect selection that you have to make in order to convey the message that you want to give in the right tune? So if you select a bold or the very dark blue color, it won't give the message to your end users in the right tune. So you have to consider that as well. Learn your target audience. The color preferences and meanings depend on many factors, including age, gender, and culture. So if you select a color that most people prefer, let's say most of the young people prefer like orange color, some energetic color. Some older people find it hard to see the color because they have some visual impairment, or even they don't like bright colors to be in their screen. So you have to consider those as well. So we talked about gender, how different genders prefer different colors, and also culture. Different cultures like different colors, and some of these cultures don't like certain colors as well. So uh, when you do your research, you have to uh, think about these as well. Some colors may look different on the screens of different devices. Additional testing never hurts. So even if you select a color, let's say you select green color in your designing laptop, when you do the design, you use the MacBook. So when you open it in a Windows computer or a Dell, it can be a different green color. So Apple RGB can be different from Samsung's RGB, or even Asus RGB or whatever. So you have to you have to test your color in different devices. The devices that you think that most people will use your application with. So you have to do some additional testing and make sure to select the right color for all these different devices as well. It may be a good idea to test the UI colors with representatives of the target audience. So after you finalizing your designs, UI design, you can interview, you can present them to some of your representatives and get an idea about what they think of the color selection that you have made. So that is also a really important step to do. Try to make the color combinations wisely in the best way for the user's perception. So even though as a designer you think that this particular color combination looks really good, at the end of the day, users are the ones who is using your application. So you can't just decide the color theme by yourself. So you have to interview and ask users the questions and select the colors based on the interest of your users, but not you or your team. So that is the color combination and what are the things that you have to consider when selecting a color. Okay, next we have a thing called color theory. Color theory is the collection of rules and guidelines which designers use to communicate with users through appealing color schemes in visual interfaces. So in order to select a good color, we have a practice called color theory. So this is the normal color wheel. These are the primary colors in digital design. We have red color, blue color, and yellow color. And when we add the secondary colors in between, we have all these color, and this is the full color wheel. So in color theory, we have these combinations, color schemes. First one is monochromatic. Monochromatic is one color in the color wheel. You can select any color. In this particular case, we have selected the yellow color. And next one, analogs. Analogs are the colors next to each other in the color wheel. So if you select this yellow color, you can select this lighter green or lighter orange. Complementary is colors opposite to each other in the color wheel. So if you select this yellow color, you have to select this purple color. If you select this orange color, this particular blue color is the opposite color. Split complementary. Split complementary is if you select yellow color right here, right opposite color is purple, but we are not selecting that. The two colors next to opposite color is the split complementary. So in this particular case, this yellow color, blue color, and this pink shade is the split complementary color scheme. Triad, it is actually mostly used in print industry, but you can use it in digital design as well. If you use 120-degree angle in your complete circle, you will get three different colors. So in this particular case, we have yellow, red, and blue color. Tetradic, if you draw a cross like this in a 90-degree angle, you will get four colors. So in this particular example, we have these four colors. So those are the basic color scheme that we are going to discuss. And there's a difference between RGB and CMYK. So as you know, the RGB color scheme is used in digital devices where we interact with screens, and whereas in printed media, CMYK, where they have to manually create different colors by using the color combinations they have in the printer. So when you're designing something for a mobile device or a digital screen, make sure to use RGB. So most of the applications, especially Figma, it is actually for digital design. So it is always giving you colors in RGB color scheme. But if there's anything that you have to do, let's say you have to print a report or something like that, make sure to use RGB color scheme in that particular case. All right, let's talk about these colors in detail now. Color schemes. First one is monochromatic. It is based on one color with various tones and shades of it. So if you select this yellow color, you can select lighter yellow or some darker yellow. So we are only selecting one color and using shades of that color in our design. The monochromatic harmony is always a winning choice since it's hard to make a mistake and create a distasteful color scheme. So as a starter, we can start off with monochromatic color scheme because if you don't have any much experience, you can go with a one color and use the shades of that color in your designs. So you won't make a mistake and you create a distasteful color scheme if you select monochromatic. So in this example right here, they have selected the blue color as their main color and use that blue color, dark blue color as the background and the light blue color as the foreground color. So the message that they are trying to represent is something related to space or the sky. So they are using blue color and white color sparingly in order to give that message. Next, we have analogs. To create analogs harmony, you need to use colors located right next to each other on the color wheel. This type of color scheme is used for the design where no contrast is needed, including the background of web pages or banners. So you can select three different colors next to each other in the color wheel, and if you don't need any contrast between your design elements, you can use this particular color theme like this. Next, we have complementary color scheme. The complementary scheme is the mix of colors placed in front of each other on the color wheel, like this. The scheme is opposite to analogs and monochromatic since it's aimed to produce high contrast. For example, the orange button on the blue background is hard to miss in any interface. So if you want to give some contrast between your design elements, maybe the button text, or the readable text paragraph or whatever, you can use complementary color scheme in this design. This infographic right here, they are using blue color as their background, blue and purple, and using yellow color as their foreground illustration background color. So in that way, it is contrasting design. Next, we have split complementary. This scheme works similar to the previous one, but it employs more colors. For instance, if you choose the yellow color, you need to take two others which are adjacent to the opposite color, meaning the blue and pink. The contrast here is less sharp than in complementary scheme, but it allows using more colors. So if you need to use more than two colors, you can go with split complementary. So we are using the colors next to the opposite color. If we select yellow color, these are the two colors we are going to come up with. Okay, this is an example of split complementary design. Next, we have triadic. When the design requires more colors, you can try triadic scheme. It is based on three separate colors which are equidistant on the color wheel. To save the balance in with this scheme, it is recommended to use one color as a dominant and other as accents. So if you draw lines in a 120-degree angle, you will get three different colors are equally distant in the color wheel. So yellow color, blue color, and red. So it is advised to use one color as the accent color. So if you use blue color as your accent color, you have to use it as the dominant color. So maybe 80% of the colors will be in blue color, and there will be some accent. 10% of colors will be in yellow, and another 10% is red. So make sure to use them, use a dominant color, and use other colors as accents in order to get a better user experience and better color combinations for your users. This is an example of that particular triad color scheme. Next, we have tetradic double complementary. Uh, the double complementary color scheme is for the experienced designers since it is the most difficult to balance because we have to deal with four colors. It is employs four colors from the wheel which are complementary pairs. If you connect the points on the chosen colors, they form a rectangle. So if you connect this, it will form a rectangle. The scheme is hard to harmonize, but if you do everything right, the result may be stunning. So as a starter, it is always good to go with the normal, like select one color and do your accent colors based on that. But if you have some experience uh, about the color themes and color wheel and everything, you can go with the tetradic, especially in cases where you require more colors. In this case, we can select four colors and create a design. So in this example, it is a online learning application. You can apply four different colors to four different categories, or the four different, if it has four different levels of difficulties, you can apply those in your design. So that is how you can apply these colors in your design. So these are some color tools. So if I open the first one, You can generate different color schemes by uh, clicking on this button. So if I go in here, you can select their hex code and copy it from here, and then go to Figma and use that particular color scheme. And even you can download this color scheme itself by clicking on this export button. Next, we have material design. So Google's material design also have different colors. So these are the colors that they are giving. The primary color is this color, and they have some variants, and you can use these color elements and color libraries in your design if you want to design a mobile application. So even if you go to Tailwind, they have colors starting off with this lighter color up to 950. So in your text you can use this particular color, and all the colors are mentioned. They have Xcode as well, so you can quickly copy the color and use it in your design. So these are some widely used colors in the industry, especially Tailwind and even material design. So you can gather the hex code. So the hex code is this one. So if you go to Figma and draw something right here, this is the hex code that they are giving. So if you paste the hex code right here, it will give the color of the selection that you made earlier. So this color, and if you want some other color like this, you can copy the code and put it here. So you can create a color library first by selecting the 4 colors that you want to have in your website or a mobile application, and use that 4 colors wisely when you complete the design. So this is not working. I will add the updated link on our Google Classroom. All right, so let's take a 15-minute break, and after that we are going to discuss about gradients in UI design. Let's meet at 10:45. Welcome back. All right, let's talk about gradients. By using gradients in your designs, you can make bold statements. For an example, in the Instagram logo right here, you can see they are using gradients effectively to give the icons that they're using more depth and dimension. Gradients can help to create something new and unexpected. Even a tiny element such as a logo can be exciting if you apply a gradient for it, like this. And also you can empathize certain elements. Take a look at the homepage example below. Text message and call to action button plays a key role in this layout. And gradient background visually prioritize the element. So they apply the gradient right here, and also the heading text and the call to action button is right here. So it will get users attention to that particular area. Gradients are perfect when you need to draw people's attention to a certain area. So if I go to website like let's say Stripe. So right now Stripe have this kind of layout, the animated gradient layout. And you can see the focal point of the animation is somewhere around here. So it will draw people's attention to that particular left side, and people will tend to read this heading they have added, and the call to action button is right here. So that is how a good example of how you can use gradients in your design. Okay, these are some basic design like gradient types. Let's go through them one by one. First one is linear gradient. To create a linear gradient, you need to specify two colors or two tints of the one color. So if I go to our color wheel, right here, to create linear gradient. So let's create a linear gradient with two colors. The first color I'm going to select is this color right here. And the second color can be something bright. Let's select this color. Okay, let's say this is my this is linear gradient. So you can see I click on here, the line, it is a horizontal or the vertical line. So that is why it is called the linear gradient, spread through that line. If you change the direction of the line, the direction of the gradient is also changing. And next we have radial gradients. Those are similar to linear gradients except that they radiate out from a central point. As a designer, you can dictate where that central point should be and specify the size of the gradient. So this is a linear gradient, and next we have the radial gradient. So if I go in here and change this to radial, so it will give me this kind of a gradient. So if I make this a square, so it is spreading from this central point. So I can change the direction of the colors. Maybe I can change the swap the colors altogether by clicking this particular button. So it will display like this. So you can see you can change the central point to wherever you want, and you can reduce the intensity of the color as well, and you can reduce the spread of the blue color or the second color. So that is a radial gradient. Next, we have conic gradient. A conic gradient is similar to radial gradient. Both are circular and use the center of the element as the source point of the color stops. However, for radial gradient, the color stop emerge from the center of the circle, while the conic gradient places color stops around the circle. So if I do an example right here, say this is my radial gradient, this is my conic gradient. I think conic have a different name in Figma. Let's see. It's called angular gradient. So you can see that it is spreading, like not from the central point. The color stops at the edge. So you can change, or you can change the size of the circle, and you can change the direction, and you can play with the where color stops and make it a gradient as well. So that is the conic gradients. You can see the difference between radial and conic as well. In addition to that, Figma provide another gradient called diamond. So it is giving you a diamond shape gradient. This one. So you can change the size, or the play with the size of the diamond and change the direction and change the intensity or the spread of the color as well. Change the central point to wherever you like. So those are the four gradients: linear, radial, conic, and diamond that Figma provides. These are some tips for creating impressive gradient. Number one, don't choose colors randomly. So if I select colors like linear gradient, two examples right here, I'm going to select colors randomly from the color wheel. Maybe this color and this mid color. So you can see it is not a good gradient. So you can't see the color contrast, or it is not a smooth gradient at all. This one has red color and this one has green color. So you don't please don't select colors randomly. So you will always have to make sure should create either analog colors, or which is colors next to each other, or shades of the same color. So if I use shades of the same color, this one is using shapes of the same color. And if I use analog colors next to each other, let's select first color as this one, and the second color can be this one. So it has a better like spread, or the smooth transition when comparing to this one. This is not good. Create a smooth transition. The transition between colors should be really smooth. Ideally, the user shouldn't notice the place where one color flows to another. Take a look at the following example. You can notice the line that separates two colors. This line creates the impression of abrupt transition. So you always have to make sure to spread the colors wisely. So normally when you select two colors in Figma, they are giving that automatically. But if you want to change the direction, if you want to change the colors, always make sure to spread it smoothly. If you keep putting this, like get it closer to the other color, you can clearly see the color separating line here. So that is not a good user experience. So always make sure to spread it out and uh, make the transition smooth as possible. Convey emotion and mood. So you can use gradients to convey emotion and mood as well. Color evokes emotional responses. We can use this color property to connect with the audience on a deeper level. So you can use select colors based on our color theory or the colors representation of human emotions or the things that they communicate, and use these two colors. So as we know, the orange and the yellow color are representing bright, bold contrast, positive feeling. So you can combine these two colors as a gradient and give users better uh, user experience and connect with them in a deeper level. So in this example right here, they are using orange color background and using this particular white and orange color gradient in their screen to give them more uh, visibility or the user experience, the visual design in their design. When selecting a colors, if you select deep tones, it brings calm to your users. For an example, right here, we have this contrast, like we have lighter blue shade on right hand side, and whereas a much darker blue when compared into this one on the left hand side. So you can create these kind of a deep tones in order to uh, bring calm to your users. The next one, try to avoid acid colors. Acid in its original context referred to a bitter taste. Acid colors rarely work well in user interfaces because they demand too much attention. So if you don't have solid design skills, it's safer to avoid using them in your UI, especially when you design a gradient. So most of the time you don't have to use acid colors. There will be special requirements when you creating a website or a mobile application for a music artist or a DJ or a concert or whatever, where they prefer acid colors, you can use them, but you have to make sure you use them wisely with sparing colors such as white or black color to stand out. The content should be stand out because people's attention will go to these acid colors more often than not if you use those acid colors or the acid gradients or images in your designs. Use gradient to direct the eye to certain point of the screen. You can use gradient to create focal points. It's especially helpful for small elements such as call to action buttons. So I showed you this example right here. You can see the focal point is somewhere around here. So people's eye will directly go to that particular text right here, and they will perform the call to action button, which is in a white color background easily. So it will improve the conversion rate of this particular website. Even in this example right here, we have add to cart button at the bottom in a gradient color. So it will help people to click on that button easily without even noticing it, thinking about it. I'm sorry. Don't forget about color contrast. No matter how beautiful your design is, you shouldn't forget about accessibility. Always check the color contrast ratio. So you can see we have added this particular gradient and the text is really hard to read. And you have to make sure your foreground text or the icon you put on top of your gradient is contrasting and readable or the viewable for your users as well. So these are some tools that you can use to create color combinations using gradients. You can select different colors and use these colors based on your requirement in your designs. So this link is not working. I will check on that and update the link on Google Classroom. All right, now we have dark mode. What exactly is a dark mode first? A dark mode is a night-friendly colors theme that mainly focuses on using dimmed gray colors for surface and UI elements. Darker colors reflect less light while still providing a great reading experience. As a design pattern, a dark mode is usually living across the user's interface as a toggle. The dark mode is designed to be supplemented to the system's default or light theme. So even if I go to my device settings, under appearance, it has all the light color theme, dark color theme, or the auto theme. If you put auto, it will change according to the time of day of the time of the day. So in the daytime, it will give me white color background, whereas at the night time, it will give me dark color. So all the devices, even Apple, iOS, or even Windows, have this functionality right now. Okay. Dark theme is a good marketing move for making your UI stand out among similar brands or products. The deep, heavy backgrounds can become a perfect addition to your brand visuals. Dark mode as a feature can help reduce eye strain when operating your product. Especially if your product is heavy with text, a dark mode can help enhance your users' retention and focus. So especially during the night time when you try to read an article or when you try to watch a video, if it is in white color, it will give you eye strains, the background color. That is why most of the time we use our phones in dark time or the night time in a dark mode. So that is give you better usability and also better user experience, and also it reduces your eye strains as well. So you can look into your screens for longer time. Even when you try to read a book or using Amazon Kindle or whatever, at the night time, if you have a dark color background and white color text, it will improve the readability and you can read for longer hours. Dark mode can potentially save your phone energy. So when you use in dark mode, so if you use light mode, your whole screen should have bright up. So in your screen, there are pixels. So if you're using white color as your background, all the pixels in the screen should light up. But if you only have dark screen, some of the pixels don't have to fully light up. So in that way, it saves the battery of your screen as well. Dark mode consumes 6 times less power on screen by emitting less light, and as a result, can prolong your app lifespan and usage time. So you can save your phone battery and you can prolong your app's lifespan as well. Healthier to read against dark surfaces, especially when if you try to read a book during night hours, it is a good practice to use the dark background and white color or the gray color text in the foreground color. It will give you better reading experience as well. Plan your color use. Avoid or limit white on pure black colors. You can use pure black. Pure black is this is the hex code #000 as a background for dark mode. This is the pure black color, and this is the color that they are using. So pure black is the background for both of these, but the paragraph text, the heading is white color in this, and even this one has a white color heading, but the paragraph text is gray color, #9C. So you can improve the readability, and also users can differentiate between the heading and the paragraph if you do this, and also it have a benefit for your device battery life as well. So if you put this in white color, all the pixels have to light up, but in the gray color, it is reducing somewhat, not significant change, somewhat battery life in your phone. Brand your dark color to make your dark more unique, use a much darker version of your primary brand color as the surface. So let's say my primary brand color is a blue color. So I'm using darker shade of that blue color as my background because I want my design, my application to uh, be uniform. So it should have my all the branding colors in my design as well. So that is the idea behind that. Reduce color saturation. Avoid fully saturated colors in dark mode. So you can see in this example right here, this green color and this blue color is saturated. Means you can't see the boundary or the edge of this particular color clearly. But when you use this color, so this whole image is actually not that good to look into this. So if I give you an example, images resolution. So if I show it to you right here, let's say I have one button. This button, and this is my second button. So when you use it in a website or a mobile application, this color is really bright and it is hard to use. Thus, avoid using saturated colors and also make sure to use this kind of a light color. So it will give better user experience for your users, and even when they use it in a dark or a dark color background or a white color background, this particular color, less saturated color, will give better user experience. This is actually hard to look into. Even the green color is similar, so you can use this version. These are fully saturated and these are not that much. So we can use gradients to or the dark mode to communicate depth. Use a scale of lighter colors to translate the elevation. Avoid using shadows in dark mode. So if you try to use shadows in dark mode, let me show you an example. So this is my light mode design. This is my dark mode design. Going to make this background black color. So let's get this button right here. So I'm going to use add some border radius first, like this, and then add a effect drop shadow. So you can clearly see the drop shadow in light color, but in here, if you try to add a drop shadow, you can't see it properly unless you change the drop shadow's color to some lighter color. So that is not actually how drop shadows should work. So you have to avoid using drop shadows in darker design. The solution you can have is you can put a stroke similar to the color you are using as a button color, something lighter or the darker. So you can define the edge of that particular element, something like this. So that is how we communicate the depth of the button in dark mode. So you can use that in a text or a paragraph as well. So if you want to lower the elevation of your button, you can use very lighter version of the gray color. And if you want to higher the elevation, you can use this kind of a contrasting gray color in your design. Okay, ensure your dark mode contrast. Dark mode, just as the light should meet the minimum required WCAG standard to ensure all text is legible with enough contrast. You can use plugins to check your contrast design right in the place. So in Figma, if you install a plugin to check contrast ratio, when you click on your particular element, let's say your this uh, board, and you run the plugin, it will show the uh, color contrast ratio, and they will give you recommendations as well, how much you should improve, what are the uh, colors that they suggest to improve the color contrast ratio. So even though if you have a dark mode, you always have to make sure you design light mode first. By bringing your designs from light to dark mode, keep all the visual cues in place. Don't ignore or remove some colors for the sake of dark theme, not to confuse users. So make sure to use design, like when you first design using light mode. So in that way, you have more independence or more creativity when comparing to dark mode. Because in the dark mode, when you put a black color or a dark color background, the colors that you can select are kind of limited when comparing to the white color background. So as a good practice, always start with the white color design, light mode first, and then move on to the dark color design. Okay, these are some plugins that you can use to change appearance between light and dark modes. This example right here, they have selected this light 900 as the background color for this header, whereas in the darker version, it is this. And you can see that the elevation is there even in the dark mode, because the colors they have selected are really matching with each other. Even the blue color, they have replaced it with this light 200 color to avoid the contrast for users, because the user in a user experience wise or the usability wise, most of the users are using this dark mode in the night time. So if you give them the color, contrasting color like blue or whatever, it will not be a good user experience for them. So always make sure to uh, use these practices in your design when you're designing for both light and dark modes. Use base colors to design dark mode. To make it predictable, turning a light themed UI to dark side, use a set of base or neutral colors with same transparency values the very start of your project. So you can design and define new colors. So these are the base light colors that I'm going to use, and these are the dark colors that I'm going to use. So by that way, you have a foundation for your design. So you can use the white color as the background, and in dark color mode, you can use this particular color as your background. So that is how you can work on the design by when you're designing for both light and dark modes. Don't overuse dark mode. If you're making a product for Mac or Windows users, it's good to adapt your product theme to sync with the user's current theme automatically. This can help users to feel at home, making a great first impression. So if you the website or mobile application you develop don't have automatic toggle or do not sync to users actual preferred theme, it won't be a good user experience. Let's say for an example, uh, there's a one person who prefer to use light mode. So if your website or a mobile application is in dark mode and they don't have any option to switch in or switch on or switch off, it is not a good user experience to that particular user. Similar way, if you don't have a dark mode in your design, people who use to dark mode, they won't be able to experience your application, and they don't feel at home when they use your application. So always make sure to give user an option and sync your dark mode or light mode of your website to the theme that they are selecting. All right. So these are some useful resources that you can use. This is Google Material Design's dark theme guidelines. So you can read them and get an idea about what to do and what not to do when you are using dark mode in designs. And if you go to Dribble and search for term dark UI or dark mobile app, you will get this kind of design, and it will give you good inspiration to you do your designs nicely, especially when you are designing a product involves both dark and light mode. Figma tokens, it will help you to create light and dark mode designs and create design systems. So we are going to do the design systems also and create components and everything when we do Figma practicals. Next, we have contrast. Contrast is a plugin to help to check the contrast ratio of the background and foreground elements. All right. So we are going to stop this presentation today. Now let's do some Figma practicals. So next week I'm going to discuss about typography principles, fonts, limits. So all these things we'll cover next week. Let's head to Figma and do some Figma practicals. Okay, UI design with Figma. I think you have already created Figma accounts and downloaded the Figma product. So let's create boards for everyone in here. First thing we are going to do is we are going to create a small mobile application design. So I'm going to create boards for you. This is share the link on Google Classroom. So I shared you the link on Zoom chat as well. Please open the link. Okay, let's go through the presentation. Okay, in Figma practicals, I'm going to start off with the introduction to Figma. Then we are going to discuss about Boolean operations, responsive grid layout, auto layout, components, variants, and responsive design. Please join the Figma board. If you don't have an account, I will give you 2 minutes to create an account and download the application. All right. Now let's first start off with the Boolean operations. We have union, subtract, intersects, and exclude. So if we go to Figma, in order to demonstrate this, I will create two shapes right here. This one, and let's create a circle. With two different colors. The first one will have blue color, now the second one have green color. Okay. So these Boolean operations, you can access Boolean operations by referring to this. Even here. So when you create two shapes, in order to see how Boolean operations work, you can either click on this particular caret icon or these three dot icons, more icon. So I'm going to use this one, union selection. So it will create a union of those two elements, and it will get the color of the uppermost element, which is the green color. And next one, subtract selection. So if you start subtract, the uppermost element will subtract the lower element and show the remaining part like this. And next we have intersect, which will only show the intersection with the color of the uppermost element, green color. And then we have exclude, opposite to intersect. It will only show the uh, other part when we switch on the exclude intersection. And we have flatten selection. It is actually good when you do a logo design or something. So it will give you, it will make it a vector. So you can see. So before that, I only have these eclipse 1 and eclipse 2. So if you flatten this, it will give you a vector like this. So make sure to do these operations and see how it behave when you do the design. So Boolean operations are actually we are using when we are creating design elements such as logos or the cards or whatever. So it is a useful tool to have when you do designs. Next, we have responsive grid layout for desktop, tablet, and mobile. So if you're familiar with designing, if you are already doing some designs in some other applications such as Adobe Illustrator or even Adobe XD or whatever, all these applications have responsive grid layout. So when you do a design, it is a good practice to switch on this responsive grid layout whenever you get a project, especially when you're designing a website where you have to create versions for different device sizes. You have to create a desktop size design. You have to create a tablet size for iPad or Samsung tablet or whatever. And then you have to create a phone, mobile size design for mobile phone users. So responsive grid layout should be switched on. So why grid? Keep space and align design constantly, both horizontally and vertically in all pages. So it will give you more consistency to your design. So you can easily align elements when you have this grid layout. Columns used for horizontal alignment. 12 columns for desktop, 8 for tablet, and 4 for mobile. Container desktop is given sizes here, but we don't have to worry about the pixel size of the containers because Figma itself is providing us with so many options right here. So if I go in here and try to create a board, so it have frames for phone, tablet, desktop, presentation, or whatever. So I selected the phone earlier, and this device I selected is iPhone 14 or 15 Pro Max. So you can select whatever the device or the tablet or the mobile or anything. So let's create the grid layout as mentioned in here. So for the desktop, we need 12 column, 8 for tablet and 4 for mobile. So I'm going to create a desktop layout first. So this is my desktop layout. Then we need a tablet layout. Let's select the second one. So when you're designing for tablet, you have to make sure you consider both horizontal and vertical as well, because people might turn the tablet around and try to interact with your website as well. And then finally, we need a mobile screen. For the mobile, I'm going to use Android Large. So in order to create a responsive grid layout for this, what I have to do is for the desktop, I have to go, I will select my frame first, and then we have option called grid in here, layout grid. So go and click on this plus icon. So it will create this kind of a grid. So we don't need the grid, like complete grid, we only need columns. So for the desktop, we need a 12 column layout as it mentioned. And I'm going to give a 30 pixel margin on both sides. So my design is not going to go uh, beyond this particular size. And I can use this 12 column layout in my desktop. Similarly, I can again go to layout grid in here and switch on columns. And I need 8 columns in my tablet. And I'm going to give it a 30 pixel margin like I did earlier. And even for the mobile, it is required to have 4 column layout. I'm going to add this not 30 because in mobile we have very limited space. So I added 15 pixels. So this is the ideal uh, column sizes. For the desktop we need 12 column, for tablet we need 8 column, whereas for mobile only 4 column. So those layouts should be there when you start off the design for web application or a website or whatever that involves responsive design. So when you do the design, when client say that he want to do a design for a website design, as a UX or a UI designer, it is your responsibility to give him 3 different versions at least for desktop, tablet, and mobile. So the front-end developer who is going to take over the project and do the coding will make it easier to get the code and see what is the designer already thought about when he do the design. Because otherwise, if developer had to come up with the design for mobile and the tablet and you are only providing the desktop design, it won't be a good product because developers can't do design. So most of the time it is your duty to create all 3 versions or any other versions if they prefer, any other smaller screen size or the larger TV size screen or whatever. You have to create them in your design as a UX designer or a UI designer. All right, next we have auto layout. It helps to make frames and components to responsive. So in order to create auto layout, I will create some rectangles in here. This is number 1. Need more of these. Let's say I have these as my designs. I'm going to change the color to this one. So in order to make this auto layout right now, I have to drag and place them wherever I want. It is not automatically aligning themselves. So in order to make them automatically align, what I have to do is I have to first select all the elements that I want to put into my auto layout and right click and create a frame. You have to frame the selection in order to do that. I'm going to name it at auto layout. And then we have an option here. use auto layout, Shift plus A, or you can click on this button. Now you have options. Let's see what are the options you have. The first one is you can lay out them vertically like this, and then you can lay out them horizontally like this. So it will automatically change the direction if you click on these elements. So you can change the gap between the elements as well. So right now it's 40. If I make it 20, it will look like this. And you can add some padding. If I add 30 pixel padding, let's say 100. I'm sorry. And then even here 30. So it will add some padding as well. This last one right here, it will wrap the element inside whatever the thing we create. So you can see it will take the size of the uppermost frame that we have created. So it is a good practice to use this auto layout when you do responsive designing. So let's say you created this design in your desktop, and moving on, you want to create the same design in your tablet as well. So if you add this, you can change the size of your design element. It will change the size like automatically. So I'm going to remove this padding here, even for this one. So in desktop, it will look like this, and in tablet, it will look like this. And even in the mobile, you can use the same thing. You can reduce the size of this, and in mobile, it will display card like this. So it is really helpful for designers to make one design component and use it everywhere. So uniformity, and also you don't have to redesign it. So you don't consume so much of time by creating these reusable auto layout components. So it will help you to make frames components to responsive. Okay, now talk about components. So component creation is really important in Figma, especially where the whole purpose of applications like Figma is to make designers and developers life easier. So we are trying to avoid repetition. So otherwise, if you want to create applications such as using Photoshop or any other application, you have to manually create and copy and paste every element you create. But in Figma, if you create a button or a image component once, you can reuse it anywhere you want. So if I give you an example, let's create a button. So my button text can be, I'm going to increase the font size so you can see it better. Sign up. So this is my button text. So I'm going to create a button. So make sure when you create a button, type the text first and then put it inside a frame, not a group. Frame selection. So if you put a group selection, it won't be responsive. Group selection is good for infographic when you create a logo or whatever. So it won't give you responsive properties, but the frame selection is ideal for our buttons. But if I create a logo, I can use the group. So I'm going to rename it as a button, and always make sure to give these meaningful names. Just in case if you want to visit this file back and find a design that you already did, or else another designer will take over the design and he want to do some changes to design layout, will find it easier if you rename them properly. Even when you do the design, you know that there will be so many layers in here, and added to that, there will be so many layers inside and the pages and everything. So if you don't have this kind of a proper naming, it will be hard for you to find the elements that you are created. So always make sure when you're creating, rename the button or the element that you are creating to a meaningful name where you can refer later as well. Okay, so this is my background color. So let's use a gradient because we already discussed about gradients as well. So this is the first color, and the second color can be this one. And I'm going to put this auto layout on, which will give me options to add some padding, 30 pixels, and y-axis is 10 pixels. Let's add 15 in here. Okay, now let's add corner radius as well.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I have a question. So, what's the difference between that auto layout and frame? So, sometimes use layout and sometimes use as a frame.
Yeah,
Uh,
so auto layout and a frame, or frame and a group.
Sorry, sir.
You want to differentiate between frame and a group, or auto layout and a frame?
Auto layout and frames. Then
Oh,
now that pattern you firstly use as a frame and
yeah,
then it's convert to auto layout.
yeah. So I will go through it. Thank you very much. So let me explain it once more. So I will create the button like this. Button text is there. Then I'm going to frame it. So framing will help me to get some properties. It will help me to add a color and add a width and height, or add a padding and everything. So a button, I'm going to rename this as button v2. And right now I don't have much options. So if I change the color of this to some other color, you can see I can only change the size, like dragging here, and I have to manually change the size of my button. But if I switch on auto layout for this particular button, I have options to change the padding uniformly. So it will automatically change the padding. Even here, I have options to change that. So that is the difference between the frame and auto layout switched on frame. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to use this to do the further design. So I have appearance and corner radius is 10. And then you know that buttons can have different states. For an example, even if I visit a website, so this button right here, change the background color when I hovering over it. When click on it, it has different color. So when creating component, we have to consider all this as well. So this button, I'm going to call it a default button. And when someone hovering over it, I'm going to change the colors intensity to little more. So let's use some darker color so you can differentiate between two elements. So when someone is hovering over or mouse over, will this one. And when it is inactive, I will have a different version. So let's create inactive version as well. And I can change the appearance opacity to 50%. So this is the default button that we see when someone hovering over, or when someone try to click it, it will change its color to this color, and inactive button will be this color. So now we are going to create a component with these three different states. Select all three, and in here we have option called create component set. This one right here. So we have to click on that, and I'm going to rename that component 1 to button. So you can see this button have three variants. It's mentioned here. And first variant is default here, property. And second variant is hover. And third one is inactive. So now we have a reusable component where what we can use in our design when we come up with our final design. So I'm going to use it somewhere in my mobile design. Let's do a mobile design right here. So the components we create, it will go under this asset section. So you have to click on this asset section to access this component. So you can see there's a local component that I have created. It is the button. It has three states, so three variants. So I'm going to click on that and drag it and drop it in my frame right here. So it has three states. Now if I check hover, it will look like this. Inactive will look like this. So these are the reusable components that anywhere in website or a mobile application, whenever we need a button, we can use this component in different steps. So right now, if I go to prototype and try to weave it right here, it won't do the hovering effect or anything. So you can see it's not changing its design. So in order to make it change its design when someone is hovering over it or whatever, what you have to do is you have to go to this prototype section and then switch this off. So go to prototype section and click your first element on the design or the default element, and you can see that there's a plus icon right here. So click on that and connect it to the next element. So right now I want to trigger this while hovering. So when user is coming over this particular default button, it will change to this state, hover state. I can change the animation to instant dissolve, smart animate or whatever as well. So now if I open my mobile window, you can see it's changing its states when someone is hovering over it. So that is how you can create a reusable component and use it in your designs. Any questions regarding that part? Tilina? Tilan, sorry.
No, sir, no. Clear.
Okay. How about Diniti?
Yes.
Hashad? Okay,
No,
thank you.
sir.
All right. Himashi?
All clear, sir.
Okay. So try to do this as a practical in your frame uh, when you have time next week. And if you come up with any questions, please ask on WhatsApp group chat. So I will available during 6 to 9 p.m. So I will try to answer any questions that you have. And then we have variants. We already discussed about variants. So let's go back and talk about variants as well. So right now, this is the design tab. We have three variants right here. Number one is the default. Number two is the hover. Number three is inactive. So we can change this property to state or whatever the name you like as well. And also you can add another property. These are the values for this property. Let's say we want to create a dark mode and light mode versions of a paragraph for the mobile screen. So in order to do that, I'm going to create Android small. That will be easier. For this light mode. In the light mode version, I have an image. So when you're pasting image, always make sure to put it inside the frame. Otherwise, if I try to paste it right here without a frame, it will look like this. So we don't have much control over it. So make sure put it inside the frame. So what you can do is, first thing you have to go here and copy image, and then go back to your frame, select that, and select paste here. So it will give you this control, and you can change the size and uh, change the focus area of your screen image as well. So let's add a border radius to that, 30 pixels, and I'm going to add a paragraph below this. If you don't have any content, you can use this lorem ipsum text in your design as dummy content. When you get the actual content, you can replace them with the actual content. So I'm going to change the font size to maybe 14. And finally, I'm going to put our button in here as well. Okay, now let's say this is the light version of my design, and I have a dark version as well. This is the dark version. Sorry. And I'm going to change the background color to black color and text color to some gray color like this. And let's see, this is my light and dark modes. So in order to create a component, what we can do is I'm going to copy this here as well. Select both of these and again go to create component set. Let's call this a sticker. And we have properties called dark and light mode. So when you want this sticker in your design, what you can do is go to assets and paste it in your design, and you can toggle between dark and light mode easily without an issue. So you can actually put a what is it called, the toggle button there. So in order to do that, what you can do is there's an option called Boolean expressions in variant creation as well. So if I add a Boolean expression right here, my Boolean expression name is dark mode. The first one is dark, so dark mode is true, this one. And for this one, I'm going to put dark mode equals false. So you can create a Boolean expression as well. So it will be a switch like this, and it will change the dark and light mode easily without even have to select from here. So dark mode is on is dark color, dark mode is off is light mode. So we are going to get into more advanced features as well right now. That is how you can do light and dark mode. All right, so give me 1 minute. Let's go through the Figma layout really quickly, so it will be easier for you to understand what is this is about. So when you sign up and launch Figma application, you will get a layout like this, and it will have your name right here and all the projects and all the things that you're currently working on the left hand side. And all most recent projects will be displayed right here. You can organize them and so on. And all the working windows are next to each other like Google Chrome, so you are used to it. And if you click right here, explore community, it will take you to Figma's community where you can get designs, icon sets, or any free versions, or there are some paid versions as well. So if you click here, you can get presentation and you can use templates in your design. So let's go back. Let's search for something banking application. So it will show you the banking and e-money applications or the icons that users already created. So you can get a design inspiration, or you can maybe you can use some component that you already they already created in your designs. So it will make things faster for you as a designers. So always try to make sure search for some design inspirations before you start off, because most of the time we don't have much time to think and come up with a design solution. So if you have time, it is okay, you can do your research. Anyway, you have to search and get a design inspiration from other users, what everyone else is doing, what other latest trends that in the design industry. So all the things that you can gather by visiting this community, or even Dribble or Behance. So even there are YouTube channels. I have added some of them on our Google Classroom as well. So you can stay up with the trends if you follow all this. Otherwise, your designs will be outdated. Okay, explore communities there. You can search for anything. And if I want to create a design file, a normal design file, I can click on this new design file. So it will make this kind of a layout, and all the things that we did are in this particular design file. And we have Figma Jamboard. So I created this layout in the Figma Jamboard. It is actually for this kind of a brainstorming, wireframing, and everything can done in the Figma Jamboard. And they have some other options as well. This is released recently in their Figma Con. You can create your own templates like PowerPoint like templates by using Figma as well. Okay, so you can import files as well. So let's go inside the main Figma file. So in left hand side, you have all the layers up here. So you can add pages by clicking this add new page icon. In free version, they are allowing you to add up to 3 pages. So in paid version, you can add whatever the pages you like. So that is how you can add page. You can rename your pages to whatever the name you like. And even inside the page, we have layers down here. So all the layers that we have created, all the frames and all the components, images and everything, you can access them by here. So it has a good practice. Whenever you create a new component or new frame, please rename it with the meaningful name. So it will help you when you come up with more and more design elements in the same file. All right, this is about the layers, and you can rename your file name to whatever the name you like, and you can save it under some other place, and all the Figma options are here. So I invite you to go through this Figma menu right here. So in file, we have new design file, all the options that I mentioned. Place image, save a local copy. So all these options. So you can download the Figma file in the computer as a local copy, because this is saving in the cloud. So if you want a local copy, you can download as well. Like JIT, we have a version history or the saved version history options, because if you make any change during the design, you can refer to the history and go back to that certain point. Uh, if you want to, uh, if you make any change, like mistake when you do the design, and you can export your designs to PNG, JPEG or whatever by this option. And even we have export button right here. And there are other options, export frame to PDF, like JIT, we can create a branch for designing or reviewing different branch. I will go into detail about them later. And you have edit options, view options. So I invite you to go through all these Figma menu items and try to understand what is it about, and get used to shortcut as well. So it will be easier and you can do the designs faster. And in Figma, we have plugins options as well. So that we discuss about this part. And we have a ruler right here. So on x-axis, we have this ruler. So if you click on the ruler and drag it to your design, it will give you this kind of a guideline. And even in the y-axis, you can do the same thing. So by using the ruler, you can place the elements. So let's say I want my design to start in this particular grid right here. So I can place my ruler right here. So it acts as a guideline. So I don't go over that particular guideline. So I have to make sure I design all my elements inside this particular line. So that is how you can use ruler in your design. Okay, in here we have all these options. The first one is the arrow key, where you can click on any of these elements, even the desktop or whatever. You can move around by using that arrow key. Then we have a hand tool. So if you want to present something to your designers or someone, you can go in your canvas by using this hand tool. So it won't move any design tools, but the whole canvas is moving, and it will be easier for you to present. And then we have a scale option. So if you click on scale and go in here, so it will allow you to scale like this. So it is a component. So if I scale it right here, so it will allow me to scale. So you notice that the text size and everything is changing according to the size change as well. So that is a responsive scale. So normally you can keep the move button right here. And then we have this frame option. So we use this option to create a frame like this and select whatever the frame we have. And there are some other options as well. Selection tool. Selection, you can use selection tool. Let's say you have components for these are components for home screen. So you can categorize them based on selection. So anyone who is referring to this know how this is grouped based on home. So you can use selection tool to do that. And the slice is not much useful, but you can slice whatever the images or anything and export them as images or anything that you like. Especially when you try to create a screenshot or anything, you can export slices. Okay, next we have shape tool. So you can create all these shapes: rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, or you can import image or video to your designs by clicking that as well. So if you want to create a logo or something, you can use this pen tool and create elements like we do in uh, Illustrator. You can create illustrations or whatever, not that advanced, but you can create a simple logo by using this pen tool. Or the pencil tool, you can draw something like this. And we have typography tools. So we are going to discuss more about typography when we do the typography presentation next week. So I'm not going to discuss about it much, but you have typography controls. You can select whatever the font you like. You can add your own fonts, the custom font, the size of the font, the type of the font, every information is here, alignment and all. And then you have comment option. So whenever someone is reviewing your design, they can add comment on any area of the design. So later you can refer to these comments and make changes to your design. And in here we have more options. So if you want to install an asset or a widget or a plugin, you can visit this plugin section and run that plugin or the install plugin. Let's say you want to uh, find some icons, 9 icons. Go to plugins section, look for icons, and they will provide you with different icons, and if you click run, it will be installed to your Figma account. So you can use this icon. So I already installed 2 icon libraries like this. So if I click on material symbols, all the material design icons, Google icons, I can use them in my designs like this. Okay, and finally we have developer mode. So after you do the design, when you send this to your developer or the design front-end developer, they can switch on this developer mode and get the CSS or uh, React or Angular or whatever the code from this right-hand side, the components and everything. So that is the usage of that. And this is displaying all the properties. And let's say if I select this, it will give me the position, X position, Y position, the height, width, and everything, background color. You can play around and see what are the properties that they have and do changes accordingly. So I invite you to do buttons in your frames right here. You already have, and create this kind of a layout with the dark and light mode. So when we come back next week, we can go through them. And if you have any questions, please ask on group chat as well. If you have any questions right now, you can ask as well. Any questions so far? Okay, then I'm going to end the session for today. So let's meet next week at 9 a.m. Have a nice day then. Bye bye.